You're not recording.
Set.
We are.
All right. My name is Darius Shankar, Chair of the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency Finance Committee. Call this meeting to order. Report that all the members of the board are here with the exception of Lee Eck. First order of business as usual, minutes. They were previously distributed, so I'd call for a motion to waive the reading and accept them as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Second. So moved. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Next order of business is our quarterly financial report.
Within your financials are the quarterly through September 30th, 2023, for the resulting activities, showing the third quarter actual to budget and year to date for the IDA compared to the budget in year to date budget. For your review and any questions you got.
Are we expecting to be under budget for revenue for the year at this point?
Yes,
Okay.
we are.
In the hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, okay. All right. And that's as a result of fewer projects coming in.
That is
Yes.
accurate.
Okay. Thank you. Next order of business is unfinished business, 40 Stu Ben.
Thank you, Chair.
Take it away.
So this project we introduced at the September Finance meeting, you will find a memo in your materials that summarizes the history of the project. I'll look through it briefly. Back in 2014, the IDA approved financial assistance in the form of sales manager for the real property tax abatement for the 40 Stu Ben LLC project. Consisted of the redevelopment of a formerly commercial structure into 29 market rate apartments and approximately 2,600 square feet of ground floor commercial space. Did I skip that? Okay, I just saw it. With that being said, the project has reached the point in the real estate investment cycle where it is in its position and it is up for sale. A LLC associated with Redbird Development Partners is in talks to purchase the property and is requesting the transfer of the existing benefits, namely the pilot agreement in place. Staff has conducted a financial analysis of both the past performance to date of the asset and a projected performance going forward with the coming to the finalization that the transfer of the pilot is within reasonable parameters as it relates to returns. We can also speak to that more in depth in an executive session. If it's so short.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for open discussion? Any issues?
I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
In the interest of full disclosure, I did some work for Redburn on an unrelated separate project 2 years ago. It has nothing to do with this project, and I see no conflict of interest. I have no ownership, stake, or role in Redburn in any way.
Okay. Thank you.
Just
Yeah,
elaborate on
sure.
that. It's quick brought to my attention. As he indicated, it's an unrelated matter. He has no interest in the project applicant, which would trigger a potential issue, but there is no interest there. And out of abundance of caution and from a good tactic standpoint, Chris is disclosing this in the open meeting, so people putting it in the minutes. So thank you.
Thank you. It's not usual for us, I think, to transfer, like usually upon the sale of property, the pilot ends, correct?
That's not entirely accurate. It would, so where it is accurate is without a request for a transfer, the pilot would terminate. That is something that's not allowable, through the approved documents. However, it is, standard for, real estate to transact, during the term of the pilots that are here. So as we've discussed before, we do anticipate that we will see more of these over time, as our pilots do go out beyond 10 years, and we'll start to see those properties transferring in the normal course of business. And so the request at hand is something that is normal. However, our documents do not allow for them to transfer the pilot without a request coming in formally to the agency.
Right, and that's all the questions I have. Anybody else? All right. Hearing no further questions, I think you're gonna go through more of the. Is there anything else further to discuss on the project?
I don't know if it's after now, because.
It is simply a transfer of the pilot.
Correct, in its existing format with no amendments to it.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion? Let's see, yeah, do I have a motion for approval of the assignment and assumption of the pilot? So moved.
One second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next order of business is Midtown Albany, 102 Hackett Boulevard.
All right,
There.
this project was introduced at the previous month's finance committee meeting. It involves the redevelopment of the existing vacant approximately 28,000 square foot commercial office building into approximately 25 market rate apartments. It sits at 102 Hackett Boulevard, somewhat adjacent to the Albany Academy. I will note that we have the project applicant here with us today, Mr. Manfred, that can answer any questions that the committee may have. And with that, I will dive into a rundown of the summary, also a rundown of the framework scoring, and a quick rundown of the third-party executive summary report. That being said, this one's a little bit unique when you look at the estimated project real property benefit. Over the course of the 20-year requested pilot. So what we tried to do in that top bar is a little bit of an outlier, in so much as it is in the process of going from a commercial building that is vacant to then quickly vacant and repurposed as a residential building. So we tried to show really what would the revenue gain to the taxing jurisdictions be should it change hands but remain vacant. And in that scenario, the net benefit for the new project is about $222,000. The real property value increase along those same lines is the net increase, I could say, is approximately $762,000. The estimated project investment is $4.3 million. We will jump into a more detailed rundown with a few benefits shortly. As with all projects requested in property tax abatements, we did contract with Capital District Regional Planning Commission to have a economic impact analysis completed through the in-plan platform. And in this instance, we're able to analyze the temporary impact of the projected 40 construction jobs. And as you can see here, that total direct, indirect, and induced effects total approximately $4.59 million. And again, based on the deviation request in terms of the pilot, we did catch up with Kamui to look at the appropriateness of the financial assumptions and also the reasonableness of the requested assistance. The executive summary was made part of the committee materials, and we do have the full report as part of the board only materials. And the conclusion was that both the appropriateness of the financial assumptions and the reasonableness of the request assistance were needed and were good. So we can jump into that in more detail as well. Of note, the project is not only requesting real property tax abatements, but also mortgage reporting tax abatements and New York sales and compensating use tax abatements as well. The materials going into the redevelopment. or run through our framework.
Yeah, please.
As we've seen, if they do recent projects, I'll note right off the bat that this project does not score what would previously have been the required number for eligibility, and it's as much as that would be 10. We have 7 points here, and we've noted in the past that this framework is in the process of being refreshed, and we do expect to be looking very, very closely at this to try to capture the best and most accurate way going forward to score projects of all sizes and in all locations in the state.
I would just underscore here that this is something, if you'll recall, that the board had proactively taken a look at using as guidance, but not necessarily as the scoring tool at this point, because we are in the middle of the update. The board has acknowledged that this is not current to the current economic situation as well as current priorities, and so because of that, this is the guiding framework, but not necessarily the official hurdle point for the project review.
Thank you. We're going to start at the top category, revitalization under project geography. The project is located within the district plan, that plan being the Newtown Colleges and University plan. Identified priority, the project is exempt currently. And of note, as part of the board only materials, we did include a letter from the most recent tenant, Knight Scoba, speaking to the status of the building and that they have indeed made the property. Identified growth area, the project received 1 point for being an existing cluster, which would be identified as medical based on the adjacency to the VA hospital and Albany Med, and also 1 point for conversion to residential. Coming down to job creation, the project receives 1 point for estimated 40 jobs, construction jobs to be created, and for financial investment receives 1 point for approximately $4.3 million in investment. Of note, this project has also committed to utilizing regional labor on site during construction to the tune of 90% of the construction jobs on site. So those are our 7 points.
Are we gonna be locked into the valuation? The estimated valuation, of 566, 640 at this point,
So, great question.
for billing purposes?
So it looks like until the project, so there's gonna be, stepping back, we expect there to be a citywide reassessment next year. Prior to that taking place, we did receive a second letter from the assessor, opining on the fact that a value at the point at which the project is sold, but not yet stabilized, that would be the 566K value. And then we would expect to see upon stabilization and completion, that value to increase. There is a little bit of uncertainty, as the assessor does state, as to where that final improved assessed value will land, and we did try to account for that in our analysis as well.
Okay. So the base value is still kind of up in the air.
The base value is going to be the 566.
Okay, it's gonna be,
Yes,
that is,
The
okay,
pilot base.
Based on the purchase price and the equalization rate being applied to that.
right, okay. Okay. Anything further?
With that being said, we could enter into an executive session at the discretion to discuss the finances of an individual or corporation.
Anybody feel a need to go into executive session for further discussion? Okay. Staff, no,
We can always dive into the finances if you would like, as a review. You were provided with that as part of the board only material.
correct, yeah. Yeah, I don't have a need, but if anybody else, okay. All right,
If there's ever any questions, please let staff know, and we're happy to run through those at any time.
all right, any further discussion? Or points of information or questions for the developer? All righty then, I guess I would seek a motion for a positive recommendation of public hearing. All right, second. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too. Next project New business, next project, Freedom Springs, Albany, project introductions.
This next project is the first time this is being introduced to this committee. We do have the applicant here with us today. We would expect the applicant will be here with us moving forward through this process in person. But we will have to stand for the students and contact in person. The background, September of 2023, we received an application from Freedom Springs Albany LLC, and for a project that involves the new construction of 2 3-story buildings totaling approximately 150,000 square feet, inclusive of 4,200 square feet of commercial space. This project will include 118 purpose-built affordable housing units, in addition to 2 staff units. This project is located at the corner of Central and Colvin Avenues in Albany. And with that, I will turn the floor over to Mr. Mangiardo, who is here with us today, who can speak a little more eloquently to the project and also answer any initial questions the committee may have.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure about eloquently, but I'll give it a shot. And thank you, everyone, for letting me do this meeting remote. As mentioned, I intend to be there in person for future meetings. So the one correction, it's going to be one-story building fronting Colvin. That's going to be the commercial building, and the other building is going to be 3 stories. So I apologize if there was some confusion in the application. But again, as mentioned, 120 units, fully affordable. This will have 30 units for veterans at risk of homelessness, 30 units for seniors at risk of homelessness. The providers in those will be Albany Housing Coalition for the veterans and Gateway Hudson Valley for the seniors. They will have services on site, offices on site, and then 2 other units, one for superintendent, another for a veteran with lived experience. Albany Housing Coalition has used these in previous developments, and they've had good success. We've also done across the country. So there'll be that 24/7 presence there. This will be financed through HFA, so the typical 4% route. It'll be, at this point, they're doing a 35-year loan on their projects. I know sometimes they bounce between 30 and 35, but due to interest and cost and whatnot, they're doing 35 at the moment. And then, yeah, about 4,200 square foot of commercial space. The commercial space, it's not going to be at market. We're looking at we're classifying, looking for, I guess, tenants that can kind of benefit the community. It's currently slated for 3 spaces. It'll be 2. We're calling them incubator spaces. We've seen this in other communities. Ithaca is one, for instance, where they're about 500 square foot, be below market rates. So someone who wants to start a business for the first time, instead of going on Central Ave and leasing a 1,500 square foot space, can do a smaller space and see if they can get off the ground and hopefully move onto a larger kind of brick and mortar along Central Ave. And the other we've kind of tagged as a coffee shop. Again, that's a undetermined space. We do not have a tenant at this point. So that's just kind of what we're thinking at this point. We're looking at a probable June of 2024 close with HFA. Again, things shift forward and back. So again, that's our best guess at this point. Roughly a probably 22 month construction timeline. And that about sums it up. So again, please hit me with any questions. And again, apologize for the eloquence of that. Not sure I hit it.
Has it been fully approved by the planning board and good to go, permitted?
No, at this point, we've been through 1 planning board meeting. I think we're on the next planning board. They requested some borings up front along Colvin Avenue. So we'll have someone on site, I think the 18th this month, to do geotech borings. So it's been through the first meeting at planning board, but not approved at this point.
I know there's been a lot of discussion with the neighborhood surrounding the proposed development. What is the status of neighborhood support or lack thereof?
I mean, at this point, we are doing all we can to financially make this feasible and kind of bending as much as we can. We initially started 187 units, 5 stories, so we're down to 120 at 3 story. A revised plan, so there's no site plan in the within the pack at this point. We're moving it further away from the park. Again, kind of accommodating some things that we're trying to do. have reached out to local organizations like Housing for All, and they've said, look, you need to talk to the neighborhood, you need to talk to us. We need to see exactly what you're proposing and if you're working enough. And they've come out in full support of the project, realizing that, hey, you've done what you can to kind of make everyone happy. Again, we do have
supporting. Who's supportive of the project?
Housing for All. I apologize.
Okay. Right. That's okay. Just want to make sure.
So again, we're doing all we can. I think ideally the neighborhood would like to see something along the lines of about 60 units comparable to what's going across the street from Colvin. Again, our site's a little bit more than twice as big as that site. So our density kind of unit per acre is less than that. But again, it's kind of a work in progress. So we are doing all we can to make everyone happy. At the end of the day, are we going to have full support from the neighborhood? No, I don't believe so.
And so we are attempting, as we always do, we're attempting to make sure that the application is moving concurrently with planning approvals. It's been this agency's stance that the IDA did not make final approvals until there were final approvals from the planning agencies. We've done that from time to time. Again, any assistance here is contingent on the ability to pull permits and move forward with the project, which a project would not be able to do if it did not have those full approvals. So in talking with the planning department, they do believe that we're on a concurrent pace now with our review of the project. And it also highlight that what we are looking to review here is the financial need of the project. And the assistance being requested, its appropriateness for the project on site. Comments, questions, concerns related to planning and zoning issues do need to be directed to those agencies. For what is under their jurisdiction, we're really going to be handling the financial request at hand. And so you've got material related to that in the packet, and we'll certainly be able to chase down additional information based on comments and questions from this group, and we'll ensure that Rick and staff as well are keeping you apprised of what's happening over at the planning and land use bodies as well.
All right.
Just one last thing to note, I'm sorry. Based on the assistance being requested, it is a 10% shelter rent, which is in line with agency policy. However, there is a deviation in the request for the pilot associated with the sliver of commercial space, which equates to just under 4% of the project based on a pro rata square foot basis. Barring any contrary direction from this committee, staff does anticipate utilizing a third party to look a little bit more closely at that request.
All right. Any other questions? Topics for discussion? All right. Well, this is one we don't need a motion on, so thank you for joining us. And you're free to go. You can stick around for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, everyone. I will gladly jump. So I look forward to seeing you all soon in person. All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Next order of business, agency update. Okay. Compliance update. So we're compliant. All right. Then I guess I would ask for a motion to adjourn. All right. Second. All's in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned. Yep. All right.